Hello YouTube, this is Cole at the Schwers and Gears channel, and today we're back working on the 1940 Chevy Coupe. So what's in store for today and hopefully tomorrow is going to be stripping down the chassis of all the factory style Mustang 2 suspension components and doing some repair and modification. As you can see, it looks like years and years ago the previous owner, in an attempt to install the original radiator shell on this modified cross member, did some haphazard modification, some real nasty booger welds and whatnot. So we're going to be correcting that issue. So we'll be hacking up the frame, modifying this particular cross member, but retaining the position here in which the radiator is mounted. So it'll be critical and important to keep that where it's at location wise, so that the fenders and the core support and the hood and all that lines up properly. So some other modifications that we'll be making is the removal of the factory style Mustang 2 control arms. So we're going to be going to a Speedway Motors tubular control arm, which I got over there in the first stage of primer. Also, we're going to be eliminating this guy right here, the strut rod. So stay tuned, guys. We're going to be stripping this all off. We're going to be primering the frame rails that you can see, and we're going to be hitting them with a coat of Rust-Oleum gloss black. So this is the process in which the car is going to kind of get out of the street rod era and you know, become a little more hot rod, a little more classic, kind of bring the car out of the 90s. Anyway, guys, all right, and here we have our new Mustang 2 tubular control arms. Pretty cool here. Nice little upgrade and replacement for the factory control arms. As you can see, much wider here, inside to inside edge of the control arm. The factory arms, take a peek right here, actually mount inside of this cross member. This is an aftermarket Fat Man cross member, but it essentially replicates a factory Mustang 2 setup. So Speedway and other companies as well that build similar arms include some spacers that we have to weld in order to make up this distance. So we'll be going through that process. We'll be MIG welding them in. Pretty simple, nothing too crazy, but what it's going to allow me to do in this case is retain the use of my aftermarket sway bar and go to coilovers. So here's the arm as they come unfinished. I have all the hardware and whatnot in the garage, but we'll be hopefully installing these shortly. All right, guys, this is Cole again at Schwers and Gears, and this is where we're at with the disassembly of the Mustang 2 style front end on my 40 Chevy. So everything's going real smooth. We had to take one quick trip to O'Reilly's because kind of a weird deal, but when removing the upper ball joints, these guys right here, it seems like the standard ball joint removal tool just wasn't quite wide enough to lever the space between the spindle and the upper control arm ball joint. So what we ended up doing was just using two tools, kind of just opposed them and sent them on home with a hammer, and they went right in. So anyway, I wanted to show you guys the difference here. So here's our lower control arms. Here's our upper control arms. I believe these to be factory Mustang 2, Maverick, Pinto, etc. Here's the aftermarket sway bar that came on the car. Really thick, heavy plate that attached to the chassis. And here's our freshly painted Speedway Motors brand uppers and lowers. Like I said earlier, we're going to maintain that sway bar mount, so it should be pretty cool. I've also got some QA1 coilovers that I'll show you guys later. Plan of attack is going to be to continue to disassemble the front end. We're going to degrease it thoroughly, I've got brake lines to pull. Looks like I'm gonna have to pull the steering column. Maybe finish pulling this wiring out between the firewall, that bulkhead fitting for the heater hose. Probably going to cut the exhaust out of the way, just because all that's going to get redone anyway with the new engine. And then at that point we can think about doing the weld repair on this front radiator core support cross member, and you know, getting on with it. So great progress today. Big thanks to my friend Andrew Fullstad. He helped me out a whole bunch on the disassembly. We just kind of dug in and got her done. So I've got quite a mess to pick up here, guys. Don't have too much fun out there, and there will be update videos shortly.